players and choose more or less on their stats. If you get them right, you can win up to 25 times your cash. It's quick and easy to make your picks, and with fast and safe deposits and withdrawals, Prize Picks is the place to play this season. Prize Picks has awesome weekly promotions, and they're the only daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, keeping you in the game even if one of your players goes down. Watch your entry update in real time and continue the fun by making picks on second half and fourth quarter stats. And right now, when you go to prizepicks.com/primetime and use code primetime, Prize Picks is matching your first deposit up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/primetime with code primetime for a 100% deposit match. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Rizumkizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
With 13 locations nationally, including Smyrna, Star Leasing Company is a semi-trailer one-stop shop and the perfect place to build a career as a semi-trailer mechanic. Seeking candidates with all levels of experience, Star Leasing Company has a semi-trailer technician trainee program with sign-on and quarterly bonuses and other opportunities such as $1,000 for having a yearly physical. Package also includes 401k with company match, health, dental, and vision insurance, competitive pay with weekly paychecks and paid holidays and time off. Star Leasing Company, not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. It's starleasing.com to learn more.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
I said all day yesterday on the show that you don't hand a microphone to a guy when the season's over to address the crowd if he's coming back.
No,
he's not coming back. So we can stop saying if he doesn't come back. But today,
now you really
let me reiterate, for sure, gone.
Look forward to the ceremony.
Can put that to bed.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
Text the Strike and Spare studio now at 615-844-5600. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Indeed you are. Good Tuesday afternoon to you. Rolling along here in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. By the way, you can watch the show every day on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. A lot of you do that. We appreciate it. You can also talk to us on our YouTube page. Just type in WNSR Live for the McFarland Show. Darren and Justin here with you. Let's go up to Cincinnati, and let's check in with Charlie Goldsmith, who covers the Bengals for the Cincinnati Enquirer, and he now joins us, by the way, on X or Twitter or whatever the heck you want to call it. He's at CharlieG_. Charlie, how you doing?
Doing well. How about you?
Well, I don't know. We're trying to find out if this is a good hire or not. And so, we don't know. You should know. You cover the team. You're around Brian Callahan. He's been the OC the last 5 years. You should have a much better perspective than us. So should we be happy?
So I've heard this several times in the building at Paycor Stadium over the last several seasons, talking about philosophy. And they're explaining their philosophy, and several times it's been said, off and kind of off the record, the team with the opposite philosophy as the Bengals has been the Tennessee Titans. I think what Tennessee is getting in Brian Callahan is a major shakeup. Everything from run-pass balance to, positional, where you would rank them in terms of positional priority, how you would value different positions compared to another, from scheme, from off-season program, and intensity of training camp. I think Brian Callahan's going to bring different ideas in just about everything.
Well, we hope so. We could use a refreshing change around here. It's a team that struggles to get past 16, 17 points a game, and that just doesn't work in 2023 or now in 2024. The problem is, and why we're, a little hesitant, there's a couple reasons, and that's where I want to run this by you. The obvious is, well, we don't really know. We feel kind of good about Will Levis, but we still don't know what Will Levis is. We know what Joe Burrow is. So there's no Joe Burrow here, at least not right now. There's no Jamar Chase here. There could be maybe a T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd here. We'll get to that in a minute. So he doesn't have the weapons, and heck, now that Derrick Henry's probably outside on the way out, there's not even a Joe Mixon here. So, I'm wondering what it's going to look like without the weapons that he's had to work with as OC.
Everything is going to be tailored around the quarterback, and of course, you could say it'll be like that everywhere, anywhere. But Brian Callahan has a track record and just a philosophy. I've talked to him directly about these comments or about this process. So, for example, if it is Will Levis that they stick with, he is going to go back specifically and retailor the offense around what Will Levis did best in Kentucky. He didn't say that specifically about Levis, but he says his whole approach and philosophy is relying more on college experience than a lot of other coaches would. That's exactly what they did with Joe Burrow. They just gave Burrow a bunch of LSU concepts right off the bat to make him feel comfortable. They are going to, and I'll guarantee you this, Brian Callahan will invest more in skill position players than any team in the NFL, except for maybe the Bengals. They are going to, whether it's T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd.
Charlie. Charlie, could you just say that again for us and the audience to hear that again? Could you just repeat what you just said?
He's
going to invest in what?
Yeah, so it's funny. So I was talking to Brian Callahan about the Bengals' big three late in the season, and I was like, you've said these experience shaped your approach to always invest in wide receivers. And he cut me off. He said, always. I will always invest, not just in a number one, but he will invest more in number two and in number three wide receivers than just about anyone in football would.
Okay.
New day.
Now you have our attention.
It's a new day.
Charlie, we're all ears. We're listening.
New day.
Nashville, did you hear that? We're listening.
Told you.
Now we need that track record to get a little bit better with the wide receiver position. It hasn't been great here.
Wow.
Now, the other part is for us to figure out, and we kind of went through this for just a season with Matt LaFleur, right? He came in here as the OC before he became the Packers head coach, and he was out in L.A. with the Rams and Sean McVay, and it's like, yeah, he was the Rams OC, but, we all know what McVay is. So he's been the OC for the Bengals for 5 years. Yeah, that's great, but Zach Taylor, the head coach, kind of. So how involved, how should we take that element for Brian Callahan? Because Zach Taylor was the head coach.
So Zach Taylor said this, and everything I know about the organization, it works this way. Cincinnati has been the most collaborative play-calling operation in football, really. Brian Callahan plays a leading role in all of it. How it worked basically in Cincinnati was it was very – you would have a game plan for very specific situations and, 3 plays under that set. So they would have, 3 plays for third and 3 to third and 5 for this part of the field. And Zach would pick which one of those 3 plays. But, Brian Callahan played a massive, massive role in designing those plays, in deciding to put it in that part of the game plan. He played a massive role in working with the receivers to make sure they knew how to time up their routes for specific matchups. Brian Callahan has been the, pass protection and blitz pickup. That's kind of been his baby in Cincinnati. So he's played a leading role in developing that critical part of the game plan as well. So he hasn't called the plays, but he's done a heck of a lot. And he's been doing it for 5 years, which is way longer than quite literally any other offensive coordinator in football. So even though he doesn't have the play calling, he's been coordinating the offense and, really playing an assistant head coach type role for a long time.
I'm glad you brought that up, Charlie, because that's literally what I've been saying when we've been talking about these candidates, and in particular talking about Brian Callahan. And I'm like, look, I don't know Brian Callahan. I remember his dad quite well, and I know what he did as a head coach in the league. But anytime anybody's been a coordinator, an offensive coordinator, or a coordinator in the league with the same team for 5 years, while I don't know him and I don't know what he does on a daily basis, he's doing something right, because there's not too many coordinators that have been at the same spot for 5 years.
And so, a great example is of Callahan leading the offense. Week 5, the Bengals offense just wasn't quite clicking this year. This was 1 week after they got blown out by the Titans, which was certainly a part of that. And Zach Taylor had Brian Callahan be the one to address the offense. And Callahan, you'll see, he'll win the press conference. He's that type of guy. But in this speech, which ended up being a big story of the season, he had an edge to him. He had a fire to him. He called out specific examples and, we got to do this, and this better. And then he, talked to us, the media, about an hour after, and he reiterated some of those exact same points. And so he has a good combination of leading the room, the fire with the, communicative, exciting, overall presence. He has a really good balance of those two things, again, combined with the leadership of having done it in those types of moments.
We're speaking with Charlie Goldsmith in Cincinnati. He covers the Bengals for the Cincinnati Enquirer. I will say this. When Joe Burrow went down, I was like, the Bengals are dead. Like, their season is over. Goodbye. Jake Browning, undrafted guy. We all remember him in college, but the job they did with Jake Browning, we certainly couldn't see that coming from afar. Could you see that coming and what he was able to do the rest of the season for Cincinnati there? I mean, did you think that that was possible?
Yeah, I wasn't, I obviously don't put actual money on it, but I wasn't putting my money on the guy who hadn't even been on an NFL roster before this year. What you saw there is probably Brian Callahan's biggest strength. The Bengals, quite literally, all three of these seasons where they've been contenders, have made huge philosophical adjustments to the offense mid-season. In 2021, they started mixing personnel and changing up the run game a little more in the middle of the season, and that changed the entire course and structure of the offense. In 2022, after Week 5, they completely abandoned their under center offense and put in more RPOs. That after that change, the Bengals were as good as any offense in football. And then this year, they actually planned it heading into the season to actually go back to that under center and really add in play action and screens and more 2 tight end personnel groupings. They planned for that to be the approach. They couldn't do it in September because of Joe Burrow's calf. They did it in October, and it was awesome. But then, with Jake Browning, they leaned all the way into it. That part of the playbook, Brian Callahan had been driving the process of working on that, since May. He told me in May to expect this to be coming. And then they leaned all the way into it with Jake Browning. That was a huge critical piece of why it worked. Again, a project Callahan had been working on all year, really.
Let me ask you this. As Darren and I met in 1998 covering the football team, covering the Tennessee Oilers at the time over at Vanderbilt Stadium. That's how far back we go here with the franchise. Over that time, we have been able to watch Eddie George to get started, go for 10,000 yards. Then Chris Johnson came in here and rang up 7,900 yards. Then Derrick Henry came in here and racked up around 9,500 yards or so. So over the past, all this time of football, we have watched teams come in here or guys come in here and rack up close to, 25,000 yards worth of rushing. We have put together three running backs here who are all borderline Hall of Famers here at the end of the day. This is a franchise and a fan base that is used to watching dominant, running the football type of teams here. Is that all over with Brian Callahan?
Yeah, it's changing. And now, in the very, very short term, maybe not quite as much because you're still inheriting, the roster that was built to do this thing. But I think in the ideal world, what's going to happen is he'll get his quarterback, or Will Levis becomes that quarterback. He'll, around Burks, they'll get multiple number 1 or number 1A type receivers, or get another one of those. They'll live in 11 personnel. Their tight end will be a finesse route runner, much more than a bruising blocker. Brian Callahan, in his ideal world, would not be running the offense that, I personally saw the Titans run in the divisional round against the playoffs 2 years ago. The Bengals offense and Callahan's offense is pretty much the opposite of that. The run game is a complement, a way to set up the passing game and take the heat off the offensive line. Again, maybe right away they'll do more of it because that could be a strength in the immediate short term, but long term, I think they'll want to do something completely different.
I would think they would do whatever they're going to do quickly because what they were doing last year was not working. So I think whatever they're doing, they're going to move in that direction very quickly, whatever they want to do. What is obviously his dad has had an influence, but how heavy of an influence is his dad still?
So, well, first of all, he's told me this in an interview, Brian Callahan, when he was getting into coaching, he ended up being a high school team's freshman coach. And he said specifically, I didn't want my dad to give me a job, but I'd love to work with my dad one day. And I think that's definitely something to look at. I think when you look at that Bill Callahan relationship, like I mentioned with Brian earlier, pass protection, blitz pickup, meshing the passing game with the offensive line, he did more, when Zach delegated, Zach Taylor, that was Brian Callahan, because that was definitely more of a strength of his, in my opinion. So when you look at the relationship and the connection with Bill Callahan, I would say much more of an understanding and nuance and hands-on, up-close work with the offensive line and pass protection than maybe a coach like Zach Taylor, who has a different background.
Does he have a weakness? What's the one thing that you go, the thing that he does when he does that, it doesn't work, and, he's really messing himself up? What's the weakness?
That's interesting. I'm trying to think through this. The running game overall, again, I mentioned it was about efficiency, but the Bengals hadn't even been getting enough efficiency with their running game. Overall, he did show maybe his best work was how he overcame the bad offensive line in the playoff run in 2021. There'll be questions about I would say that the big question is how he'll work with this front office. So in Cincinnati, the coaching staff is empowered to make decisions in a really unique way. Coaches, it's a 6-person front office, so coaches are leading the scouting process in a lot of areas. In Tennessee, what's the structure going to look like? How empowered is Callahan and his staff going to be? How much are they able to mesh their visions collaboratively? That'd probably be my biggest question or concern. Of course, Callahan has a lot to work on and improve on as a coach as a whole. He'll make some mistakes just like every first-year coach does with, game planning and, game management and timeouts and all that stuff. But overall, I'd say the front office work will definitely be the most interesting thing to see.
Well, when you find out the structure, let us know, because we've been trying to figure it out for the last 3 to 4 years, and we have gotten nowhere. So as soon as you find out, if you receive word, please let us know, because we don't. Darren's laughing because he knows I'm telling the truth. We Darren, do you know?
I think you know the answer.
No, you don't know. No, we don't know. We don't know what it is. Are we going to be under center? Is it all shotgun? And to be honest, I just haven't paid attention to it that much there in Cincinnati. Is it all shotgun? Is there any under center at all?
The Bengals have toggled back and forth. So 2022, they did no under center after week 5. Then this year the plan was, and they ended up really leaning into it with Browning, going back under center a lot more with play action. It'll really revolve around the quarterback's strengths and what they have the most experience doing. I didn't watch enough of Levis last year at Kentucky to know what that is. Obviously, if they take or add a quarterback, it would be designed around that. But, the Burrow drop-back stuff, they lean so far into because that's what Burrow's done his whole life. I do think they'll do whatever, the quarterback they have has been best at for his whole life.
So it sounds like they can play to whatever strength. So in other words, and this is where I'll leave it here, we've got a quarterback that I don't think is going to be on the roster next year named Malik Willis, who is very different than Joe Burrow. To say, I don't know if you can name 2 more opposite quarterbacks actually in the NFL. But the way you paint him, it sounds like he can come in here and design something that would work for Malik Willis if that's what he was left with. It sounds like he's very flexible and pliable to whatever he has on the roster.
Very flexible. Like I said earlier, every year they've made huge in-season adjustments to the overall scope of the offense. When they learn that, we're not getting this from this position, we need this from this position, they've made those in-season adjustments. That's been a strength of his. Of course, that'll be much, much harder when you don't have Joe Burrow making it all look better, and that'll be the big challenge he faces.
What do you assess the odds of T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd coming back to Cincinnati?
I think T. Higgins will play on the tag heading into 2024. But, man, when T. Higgins hits free agency, I can't think of anyone in football who would try to go out and get T. Higgins more than Brian Callahan would, especially with, the T hometown connection.
Yeah.
I think Boyd's gone. Frankly, I don't think Boyd was good enough this season to merit the type of receiver 1B that they would need. So if he wanted to come into Tennessee and be a 3, that's interesting, but then what are you paying him? So I don't know if he's the answer, but overall, again, Callahan will invest in receivers.
Can you guys pay everybody? I mean, are you going to run into some cap issues with Burrow and Chase? I mean, how are you guys doing this?
So Burrow said that when he negotiated his contract, they added in some flexibility for, in an ideal world, Chase and Higgins to both be extended. Now, the problem is the Bengals and Higgins haven't seen eye to eye quite where the Bengals expected at that point, and it's been a long process that hasn't heated up. So they're working through that, but Burrow made it very clear he expects Higgins back in 2024.
Okay, last thing on the way out. Who replaces Brian Callahan as the OC, and do you see anybody from that current staff coming with Brian here?
And you guys would know this better than I would. My first guess, like Brian raves about the Titans defense often, like last year this was a thing. I would get the sense that he might have some interest in keeping the core of that defensive staff together. Who replaces Brian in Cincinnati? They've been planning for this kind of, rotation to start cycling through. Dan Pitcher has been a quarterback's coach, prepared for this moment, and they have a deep offensive coaching staff to kind of backfill through there. Will he bring anyone over? Again, it would probably have to be on the defensive side. If it wouldn't be a promotion, I don't know. I don't expect it because there's not that clear promotion candidate for a level up role. Maybe Troy Walters as the OC, who's phenomenal, but as a receivers coach as well brings a little bit different of a perspective. I don't know where Brian would look there, but if it would be anyone, I'd say Troy Walters, but maybe he goes in a different direction.
Good stuff. Really appreciate the visit. Thanks for lending a little insight into the next Titans head coach. And the AFC is, man, it is going to be some tough sledding next year in the AFC. Man, it is brutal. Appreciate the time, Charlie. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Charlie Goldsmith, Cincinnati Enquirer, covers the Bengals there for them. Did a good job right there talking about Brian Callahan.
Yeah.
Let's come back and discuss what we heard. We can also talk to you. 615-844-5600 is how you get in touch with the show as you listen to the McFarland Show, WNSR.
In a single moment, everything can change. When a player's sudden cardiac event brought a national football game to a halt, it shone a spotlight on the importance of CPR readiness. Now, with youth sports in full swing, the American Heart Association is rallying parents and coaches to be ready in an emergency. To be ready, learn hands-only CPR. It's a skill anyone can learn in minutes. Visit heart.org/hands-only-CPR and become a lifesaver today.
Your brain is an amazing thing. But as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, Prevagen has been shown to improve memory. A Pharmacy Times national survey of pharmacists rated Prevagen the #1 pharmacist-recommended memory support brand for the 5th year in a row. You can find it in the vitamin aisle in stores everywhere without a prescription. Help your memory. Try Prevagen today. Prevagen. Healthier brain, better life. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
The TSU men's basketball squad came through a challenging non-conference schedule with a winning record and now turned their attention to Ohio Valley Conference play. The Tigers kicked off a run of 18 league games over a 9-week period through February, leading the OVC Championship March 6th to the 9th at the Ford Center in Evansville. And part of that, 9 league home games at the Gentry Center. Hello, this is Greg Pogue inviting you to join longtime TSU broadcaster Albert Dawson and me on all the games this season right here on Nashville Sports Radio.
Five-state forecast. Your exclusive National Sports Radio, WNSR Sky Scan forecast. For this morning, a cloudy sky, clouds and showers today, high 52. Cloudy with showers likely tonight and Wednesday, low tonight 46, Wednesday's high 62. Thursday, cloud showers and maybe a thunderstorm. Utilizing the resources of the Weatherbug Network on National Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Rinaldi.
Sports Radio, WNSR.
Give us a call, 615-844-5600. The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
615-844-5600 is how you get in touch with us. Good stuff from Charlie Goldsmith there in Cincinnati talking about Brian Callahan. We brought up Bill Callahan, who is Brian's father, and we've talked about Bill Callahan, and you brought up a great example. He led that Raiders team to the Super Bowl against the Bucks, the John Gruden Bucks that they did lose to. That was the Brad Johnson. That
is correct.
Think about it. Brad Johnson versus Rich Gannon.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
That was a little bit over 20 years ago.
A lifetime ago.
But Bill Callahan was the offensive line coach, or women is. I shouldn't say was. That's past tense. He is the offensive line coach for the Cleveland Browns. Oh, by the way, Jack Conklin was lost at the beginning of the season, for the season. Their star right tackle, torn ACL. They had and their offensive line was fantastic.
Lost their starting running back.
They ended up going through, lost their starting running back, Nick Chubb, their star running back at the beginning of the year. And they were still able to run the ball effectively. They protected the quarterback. They went through 4 quarterbacks this year.
They protected a 38-year-old quarterback.
Yeah. Bill Callahan is the offensive line coach. I hope that he brings Dad here to be the O-line coach.
It's a new day.
Okay?
New day.
I hope. Fingers crossed. Now, let me also say this.
Yeah.
Because I put this out over the weekend. There's been a lot of people putting stuff out there about Mike Munchak and back years. This has been going on for weeks and weeks. Well, I finally just said, okay, I'm gonna call around. I'm gonna talk to some people. I've talked to people, and I put it out over the weekend on Twitter, X, whatever the heck you want to call it, and said from the people I've talked to that would know, said that Mike Munchak, who is currently living in Denver, wants to stay out west. Yes, he does want to get back into coaching, or would entertain getting back into coaching.
In the right circumstance.
But I'm being told would prefer to stay out west. I didn't get one person that said, yeah, don't be surprised if he doesn't come, back to Nashville or come to the Titans. Wow. So I don't understand. Well, okay, I do.
Yes, you do. Don't do that. Yes, you do.
I know. You're right. I caught myself.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what I've heard. There's just this constant chatter of Mike Munchak here, and I just have no proof from anybody I've talked to that Mike Munchak is coming back here. I'm being told specifically he wants to stay out west. Last time I checked, Nashville is not west.
Well, what's the relationship between Bill Callahan or, Brian Callahan and Mike Munchak? Like, why would he want to come back here and work for them? Because he likes the Titans gear that much?
In fairness, I did have these conversations before this hire, so I don't know if that changes anything. I don't know their history together, which I don't think they do have any history together.
Any conversations about a coach coming back here to do anything other than being the head coach is premature, because you don't know what in the world. You asked a great question at the end of that last segment there. What coaches are going to come with him here when he takes the job? Well, we don't know what kind of alliance or allegiance or whatever that have already made, which happens all the time. These assistant coaches have secret handshakes and agreements with all kinds of people that's there on the staff. Hey, man, listen, when I get this job, you know I'm about to get this job. You coming with me, okay? I know you're the running backs coach here, and they don't appreciate you. But when you come with me, we'll make you the OC. And now you got all this in your mind, like, we can get this guy for the OC, this guy for the OC. You don't know. The guy you hired, he has already picked out his OC. Already. Set to go. This guy happens to have a father who is a professional football coach on a high level, who happens to be interested right now in being an offensive line coach and being okay with that. So if he wants to come on with them, if that's part of the agreement, which the Twitter fear that also says that Mike Munchak would be interested in coming back, is the same Twitter fear that's reporting that, Brian Callahan's going to bring his father with him when he comes down. So be it. I mean, and that's the way this needs to go. I know this. I don't think going back to Mike Munchak or going back, period, to anything is the way the franchise is going. I think going forward now is what the franchise is going to do. So anything associated with back, I think, is going to be reserved for pregame ceremonies. Forward is what this team is going to be about, which doesn't involve bringing back the old.
Yeah. So we'll see. I hope that he leans on Dad. I was encouraged by when he said what he said about Brian Callahan wanting to work with his father. That was encouraging. By the way, does the Adams family still have that on? Because, Dad, the father, Bud, was nepotism. No. Do they still have that?
I don't
Is that
know.
still intact?
You have to talk to Miss Amy. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
How would we know?
How would we know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just trying to think, has that happened? I don't think
has it been in position to happen?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so. It hasn't happened under Vrabel.
I'm just saying, I don't know what I know when Bud was the owner, no. Nepotism was a no-no.
Well, yeah. That was part of the falling out ultimately.
Yes. So
some of that.
Is that still intact? Is that not a big deal?
We don't know what Miss Amy believes.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a great question. Those are part of the questions that would need to be answered, about what the ownership believes and what they're against and all that kind of great stuff. But we don't know where her red lines are. We don't.
No.
Or how the organization is or who's drafting who and who's – I don't know. We still don't know how big of an influence Brian Callahan's going to have in the draft room. I don't know. And so, hopefully all of that will be clarified. She did promise that once a hire was made that there would be clear lines drawn, is what she said in the interview with Mike Heath that was posted online a few weeks ago. So now that a hire has been made, and by the way, I don't know if it's bothering you, Darren, but it's bothering me that as of last check, the official word has not come down from the Titans yet. And yes, it is true. Adam Schefter has said it. The Associated Press has said it. They've all reported it. But the Titans themselves have not put this out. And it's been almost 24 hours.
Yeah.
And
I'm not surprised by that.
I'm a little surprised by it. I thought it would have rolled out by now, officially.
We typically see things well in advance before they officially
days?
Maybe not days, but sometimes it has been. But usually it's, it could be we see it in the morning and they put something out at 5:00 in the afternoon.
True.
Something like that.
True. I was expecting it around 9:00 this morning. And now here we are at 2:52, and it's been nothing.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. It's a done deal.
It's strange. I find it.
I do want to know when they're going to
something
introduce
stuck
him.
in the fax machine.
Is Rand Carthon going to be a part of that? And to your point,
how they structure this?
Is Amy Adams Strunk going to be a part of that? Are they going to unveil now what the plan is moving forward?
Excuse me. They're going to have to. What's that C word?
Collaborate.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Collaborate.
Yeah. Maybe they're doing that right now.
We need another C word. We need commercial.
We do. Let's take our final break, come back and wrap up their first hour of the McFarland Show next.
And now, Musgrove Metal Fabrication and Roofing is reminding motorists to slow down on our roadways, keep an eye out for kids at play, and never text and drive. This message is brought to you by Musgrove Metal Fabrication and Roofing, backed by 45 years of experience. For all your residential or commercial metal and shingle roofing needs, give the pros a call today at 615-414-8466. 615-414-8466. That's Musgrove Metal Fabrication and Roofing, going the extra mile for safety. They're professionals who care. In Tennessee, 967,430 people struggle with hunger, and 295,570 of them are children. That's 1 in 7 who struggle with hunger, and 1 in 5 are children. People who are hungry are not necessarily living on the streets. They may be in your child's classroom, in your neighborhood, or just down the street. In addition, many of these people live in food deserts, which are areas more than 10 miles from the nearest grocery store. Often there are limited resources to get food, and the only option is fast food or convenience markets. While processed food may help with hunger pangs, it provides little to no nutrition. What began in 2008 as a dream to buy land, grow food, and give it away has recently developed into a way to serve and impact more individuals in the community. God has blessed our mission to be a healthy food source to those in need so much, By Faith Farm had to create a nonprofit to continue meeting the need in the community on a larger scale. Visit ByFaithFarm.com to get involved. That's ByFaithFarm.com.
As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers Stay Hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. I like putting parlay bets together, hammering the overs, and anytime player touchdown bets always have me on the edge of my seat. So if you're ready to do the same, visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in Kentucky. First online real money wager, only $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Are you ready for a touchdown of flavor and excitement? Look no further than Sam's Place and Sam's Sports Grill, the ultimate destination for great food, fantastic drinks, and game time atmosphere that will have you cheering for more. Sam's is the place for every sports fan and food lover with over 40 TVs at every location. Sam's has a family-friendly atmosphere where everyone can have a blast. From their friendly staff to awesome kids menu, they've got something for everyone. Online at samsplace.net or samsportsgrill.com, or call and find the nearest location to you. At Sam's, the game is always on and the fun never stops.
Hey, it's John Burton from News Channel 5 and the Greg Pogue and John Burton Show.
And I'm former All-Pro linebacker for the Tennessee Titans, also known as Mr. Monday Night, Keith Bullock.
And I'm Patton Cook. We're inviting you to join us every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 for What's Good with KB and JB, the podcast show.
All live on Nashville Sports Radio and all streaming platforms.
We talk Titans, we talk SEC football, we talk NBA, we talk everything, and we also get a little petty from time to time.
Make sure you join us.
Welcome back to the Strike and Spare Studios. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
About 3:20 in the second hour, we'll talk to Dan Kesmer, former Predator, an original Predator. And last night they honored them, some of them, last night before the and during the game against the Panthers. They unfortunately lost to the Panthers, but Dan was a part of the festivities, so we can talk to Dan. This is, of course, their, just a part of their celebrating 25 years in this market.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk to Dan. Good dude. We'll talk to him coming up at about 3:20. We'll also hear a little bit of what Brian Callahan had to say. We'll play you a clip of him to begin the second hour, and we'll discuss that as well. So looks like news around the league. The Eagles have moved on from a guy who interviewed here for the head coaching job in Brian Johnson. So they're going to change it up at OC in Philadelphia. And here's what I do wonder, because this has happened here before. It happened. I brought up Matt LaFleur in our interview when we went to Cincinnati. Remember, he interviewed here for the job that Mike Vrabel got.
Yes.
And they were so impressed by him, they're like, hey, man.
Yeah, they wanted him to be the OC.
You want to be the OC?
Yeah.
And I do wonder if any of these candidates would end up being the OC here or DC, whatever.
It certainly seems like they were shopping for one when they were looking at the different candidates. The thing that I would wonder is, why are you shopping for an OC who's already an OC on a team that no longer wants them to be the OC? That is my question. Like, if you're interviewing the Eagles OC for the OC job here under the premise of the head coaching job, like, why would you want the guy that the Eagles no longer want? I don't understand. Or the same thing with the Panthers. They don't seem to be happy with or the OC over there has been in turmoil or was demoted by Frank Wright in the middle of the season. I don't understand why you want the cast-offs of other teams and are bringing them in for interviews.
Well, Matt LaFleur was the OC with the Rams, and he took the OC job here. Because I think he wanted to get out from underneath McVay.
Okay.
I think he wanted to be able to spread his wings.
Okay.
And they probably said, hey, you can spread your wings here. We got Mike Vrabel, first-time head coach.
Okay. Legit point.
Spread out your wings, and he came here for 1 year and got a head coaching job.
I see it. Okay.
So, all right, we'll come back. Hour number 2 of the McFarland Show. Coming up next.
.560 AM, 95.9 FM, Brentwood, Nashville, 107.9 FM, Smyrna, Nashville's first 24-hour sports station. WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Voting underway in New Hampshire's first in the nation presidential primary. Nikki Haley trailing Donald Trump in the polls. This Granite State voter choosing Trump over Haley.
How can you beat his policies? The inflation was down. We were able to afford food.
But Haley does have support.
I think she's going to do better than they're projecting. Because I think she's going to get a lot of independent votes.
Jury selection starts today for the mother of a Michigan school shooter. Jennifer Crumbly and her husband are the first parents to be charged in a mass shooting after their son shot and killed 4 students at his high school in 2021. They're being tried separately. A Delta flight taxiing the runway in Atlanta when a nose wheel tire came off the plane and rolled away. Customers who were flying to Bogota were removed from the Boeing 757. The FAA will investigate. Radio and TV journalist Charles Osgood has died, his family says, from dementia. He was 91. Stocks lowered today on Wall Street. This is ABC News.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
It seems like everywhere you look right now, someone is sick. This year, prepare your family for airborne invaders like bacteria, pollen, and yes, germs with Navage Nasal Care. Navage flushes ultra-pure, refreshing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril. Navage sucks out viruses, dust, and other airborne particles, all the stuff that gets trapped in your nose, making you miserable. Don't get caught empty-handed this winter. Get Navage, the drug-free solution that helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. Even better, Navage is HSA, FSA eligible, so Navage is a great way to spend those funds before they expire. Don't wait a minute longer. Buy Navage today and you'll breathe easier knowing you're putting your funds to good use. Navage is available online at Navage.com or Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Listen.
You can't handle the truth.
It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare studios.
Just a bit outside.
Now back to the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Alrighty then.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Second hour of the McFarland Show rolling along here on this Tuesday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. Darren and Justin here with you live in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. DJ Damon is alongside. 615-844-5600 is our phone number. That's how you can get in touch with the show. Feel free to call and hang out with us, talk with us. You can also watch the show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Don't forget, if you want to communicate with us on our YouTube page, you can do so. Just go to WNSR Live, all one word, WNSR Live, and on our YouTube page, and you can communicate with us there, like a lot of you have been doing. So keep it up. Appreciate it. We'll talk to Dan Kessmer in about 15 minutes. Did you see the viewers?
I did.
Before we get to the phones?
I did.
The divisional rounds?
Yeah.
Averaged 40 million viewers.
A lot of people.
That was the average. 40 million. The number one watched game, Chiefs, Bills on CBS. Over 50 million people watching the Chiefs-Bills game. That is round 2 of the playoffs.
Let me put that in perspective real quick, that 50 million. There's about 330 million people in the country.
Yeah.
So that's about 1 out of every 6.5 people was watching the football game. 1 out of every. That is nearly impossible in today's age when you have so many different, it was all right back in the day when you had only 3 channels.
Right.
But now with all the different things.
All the stuff, yeah.
To get 50 million people watching one thing.
Round 2? Not even the conference championship games, which is this weekend.
Yeah.
Not the Super Bowl. What's the Super Bowl now? 100 mil?
Super Bowl is about 100 to 110 million.
Yeah. Gosh, that's crazy.
Which is about 1 out of every 3 people watching the Super Bowl. But this is, and just to break it off to my business very quickly in television, live sports and breaking news are the 2 things that people will continuously watch on traditional television still, no matter what. The live sports and whenever something critical is happening where you want news and information, whether it's weather or whatever it is when people will still, no matter your age, no matter where, you will still go running back to live television for those things. And the NFL is a prime example.
The second most watched game didn't have to really take a back seat. Just barely under the Chiefs-Bills. That would be the Lions, Motor City Kitties, and the Bucks. 49.1 million viewers.
Yeah.
The least watched game was the first one, the Ravens and the Texans, at just over 30 million.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Bills, Chiefs, just over 50 million. Lions, Bucks, just over 49 million.
That's right.
Crazy.
By the way, Michigan against Washington in college football, national championship game, 25 million.
I was going to say it was 20-something million.
25 million.
Yeah. And that's their biggest game.
That's their biggest game they got.
Yeah.
25 million.
And that was actually good.
It's a great number.
Yeah.
It's a great
really
number.
Good. Yeah.
But you wonder why the college football folks are going to the playoff system? This is why.
Yeah.
They can't compete. Can't run. Cannot run with the NFL playoffs. Can't run with them.
Well, we know that, but that's still a fantastic number.
Good number.
No other sport will get that.
No. It's just football.
Yeah.
But this is why college football is going to where they're going. They see the opportunity, and it's worked wonders for the NFL for generations now.
615-844-5600. Let's go to Nolensville. Tony, you're up first. Welcome in.
Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon.
I tell you what, I'm not sure, but I thought I saw Eric and he's become a Swifties, and he was up in the Kansas City booth with Taylor and them. He might have to call in and correct me on that, but I thought I saw Eric up there being a Swiftie.
Did he have his shirt on or off?
He had an 87 jersey on, so.
Okay. All right.
Eric, I hope you're laughing, buddy. I hope you're laughing. Guys, you know what? Just seeing what's all happening with this coaches changes and who's coming, who's going. Seems the Titans might be breaking their trend to I quizzed y'all a couple of weeks ago about being the only team that had all their head coaches for 30-something years played the NFL. And now, of course, if they do go with Callahan, I don't think – well, I know he didn't play in the NFL, but he did. He played through the collegiate level. And I remember quizzing y'all on that a couple of weeks ago. So, but that don't have no bearing on – hopefully he can, bring a Super Bowl here. So we'll see how that plays out. A coach that's fixing to go through on the college level, a drastic change, is former Navy coach Ken Talamatu. Is that the way you say his name?
Ken
He is going.
Niumatalolo.
Go ahead.
Ken Niumatalolo.
Well, he's going to San Diego State.
Now he's going to San Jose State.
San Jose State. And he is going now to be exposed to the portal and the NIL, which he was not accustomed to that, being at Navy. I don't think the military institutes participate in that. So that's going to be an interesting new concept for him to be partaking in, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does out there with them, and if he can get, people come. Of course, on the West Coast, we're not going to see that much of it. Guys, I saw yesterday where there was 2,200 players, that went to the portal. Roughly 50% found a commitment and committed to go somewhere. Still 50% are uncommitted and don't have a place they're playing right now. That's just great.
Well,
that's just great.
Several months of the season, but yeah.
Yep.
And then on another national radio show, I heard where 12 college quarterbacks are making more than Purdy for the 49ers. 12 college, not coaches, players, college quarterback. I can't get it out. I'm sorry.
Well,
and
this is the best time for if you're playing college football right now, this is as good as it's going to get, in my opinion. Because of it, look, I don't know how long it's going to take because they usually work at a snail's pace, but my guess is when they're hemorrhaging money and they need to fix something quickly, they'll move at a much faster pace. But, Tony, they can't, like college football can't, and these universities can't keep up with this. They're not going to be able to do this. They're going to have to come up with a new way of conducting business. It's not going to be go back to the old way. I'm just saying they're going to have to figure out a way, to your point. Like, no one is surprised hearing that, by the way, which is really alarming, right? Like, we're not like, what? Like, that's not even surprising. And so, because people are paying ridiculous. Look, did you see the Lane Kiffin tweet on Ohio State? Did anybody see that? Because of course it's Lane Kiffin. So I never know.
I'm not even.
I never know if he's, if he's just trolling
Ohio
or
State's paying all this money, millions of dollars. I think he's a little mad though because his running back went to.
I understand, but you'd have to admit Ohio State's been gobbling up a lot of players.
They loaded up.
Yeah, loaded up. So they are spending lots of money. There's no secret, right? They're not going there because they love Buckeyes. Or they just love the city of Columbus. Like, they're going there because they're getting paid. I know. Breaking news sounder.
Wow. I thought Columbus was pretty nice.
It is a nice city. I don't have anything against Columbus. But the system is broke. And right now, it's as good as it's ever going to be because at some point, my guess is sooner rather than later, they're going to have to change this. Like, you can't keep up at this pace. Like, you can't. On the collegiate level.
And does that play back into like Dabo Sweeney's hands, who did not really want to get involved in the
No, because you're still going to have
stuff?
to do it, but you're just going to have to. They're just going to have to do it differently. Like they just can't keep handing out millions to everybody they think is good.
What I really hate about it also, it's going, and it already has, but it's really going to hit the fans. It's going to get their fans in their pocketbook, and it's going to hurt them on what they can pay for, whether they go to games or season tickets. It's going to eventually get to the fans' billfold, and it's sad that it's going to come to that. And you're right, Darren. It's got to somewhere. It's got to level out and stop. It's just got to.
Yep.
But when I heard that 12 quarterbacks, NCAA quarterbacks, are making more than an NFL quarterback that's fixing possibly to take his team to the Super Bowl. It's crazy. Unbelievable. All right, guys, I know you got a guest coming up. Leave you alone. Show's great.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, look, I don't know who's going to get hit. I suspect it's going to be, yes, the fans. It's going to be students, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's going to get. Yeah. Again, you can't keep up. You cannot stay at this pace. There's no way. There's no way they can keep doing this. I'll tell you who else, and I've said this before, Justin. The coaches are going to feel it. They're not going to give coaches the Jimbo Fisher contract. I just don't think they're going to be throwing around $75 million contracts right now when they have to pay a roster. You can do that when you don't have to pay a roster.
You do.
Right?
Yeah. No, you're right.
But I don't think the coaches are going to benefit, which is why a lot of them will probably, if they get opportunities, they're going to bail. And that's why Jim Harbaugh is probably like, hey, I want it. I want a natty in Michigan, and I'm out of here. Peace out. I'm going to the NFL.
I've done all I can do here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. And we're out of here.
And I think that's why a lot of these really, really famous and Hall of Fame basketball coaches on the college side are just, if they're at the end, or why Nick Saban, if you're up there in age, you're just like, I'm just not, I don't have any interest in doing today's college football or college basketball.
Well, you have to change your whole system.
You have to change everything.
You have to change everything.
Yeah.
Because you can't just get somebody and grow them and bring them along like you were doing. No, they're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to wait. They want to go somewhere they want to play.
Your roster's always fluid. Always.
Yeah. Yeah. Every year.
But by the way, did you hear
week by week?
Who was the Alabama kid who went to Iowa? Did you?
Yeah,
did you
the
hear
offensive lineman.
Yeah, did you hear him at the Iowa basketball game?
No, I didn't hear him, but yeah.
What? They did an interview with him.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, you know what really changed it for me is during the season when I was struggling, I was talking to the Iowa coaches and they were like, hang in there, it'll all work out. Oh.
The Wild Wild West.
Oh.
It's the Wild Wild West, man.
Oh,
this is what we're doing now.
You were talking to the Alabama kid while in the middle of the season?
Sure was. Like what? Trying to get him, trying to offer him some corn. Come on up here. Absolutely, they were. I mean, this is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing, and that's okay.
I'm sure they were cringing, going, we really did want you to say that.
Listen, who's going to do something about it?
He's like, they believed in me. When I was struggling in Alabama, they were talking to me going, hang in there. It'll all work out. They believed in me.
I'm sure the NCAA will get right on it.
No, they won't.
Okay.
They won't do anything.
Okay.
I know.
So
I know.
They can do whatever.
I know.
So you're saying the Iowa coach was talking to him while he was in Alabama?
That's what they literally interviewed him the other night at an Iowa basketball game because he transferred to Iowa. And he was like, hey, what really, I guess, swung the pendulum. That's not what he said. I'm just paraphrasing. For me is, in the season when I was struggling in Alabama, the Iowa coaches, when I was talking to them, they were like, giving me encouragement to hang in there and it'll all work out. I'm like, oh. Also, you were talking to
they don't tamper it at
other teams' coaches? Huh. All right.
Again.
All right, we'll come back. Our man, Dan Kesmer. He was a part of the group that was honored last night at the Preds game, an original Predator. Will join the McFarland Show, and he will do that next here on Nashville Sports Radio.
No one outfits golfers better than Edwin Watts Golf Shops. We've been fitting golfers since 1968. Utilizing cutting-edge fitting technology, we'll analyze your swing and our Foresight launch monitors and fit you with the perfect club, pair of shoes, the latest golf apparel, golf balls, bags, and more. So come by today for your complete custom fitting. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-617-0239. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-617-0239. That's 800-617-0239. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Start the new year off with a bang of big savings during the Omaha Steaks end-of-season event. You can stock up on all your favorites and get 50% off site-wide. That's 50% off incredible steaks like their legendary Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon, or sink your teeth into their memorable Butcher's Cut Top Sirloin. Just go to omahasteaks.com. Plus, when you use code QUALITY at checkout, you'll get an extra $30 off your order. From perfectly aged tender steaks to juicy burgers, decadent desserts, and classic comfort meals, every bite is guaranteed perfect. For a limited time, get 50% off site-wide. Plus, save an extra $30 when you use promo code QUALITY at checkout. Start the new year off right and warm up your winter with tender steaks and hearty home-cooked favorites from Omaha Steaks. All 50% off with their end-of-season event. Make sure to enter the promo code QUALITY at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order. Minimum purchase may apply.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
And now for today's winning Cash 3 and Cash 4 numbers from the Tennessee Lottery. The first number is the number you just thought of. The second number is the number you would have picked. The third number is the day of your wedding anniversary. And the fourth number
They're only
is
lucky numbers if you decide to play them. Cash 3 and Cash 4, only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
This is the Greg Vogue and John Burton Show.
I don't believe Vrabel wants to be a part of this, and so I think Amy Adams Strunk decided, well, it's time to move on. That was a gangster-like move to say, all right, you know what? I don't want to employ somebody that doesn't want to be here. Goodbye. If they have another season like they did this year, he's gone anyway.
He's gone anyway. No, wherever he goes now, he's got 4 to 5 years.
Yes.
Greg Vogue and News Channel 5's John Burton, WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
You're listening live from the Strike and Spare Studios, downtown Music City. It's the McFarland Show.
615-844-5600. Darren and Justin here with you. We are the McFarlands, and we are live in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. Fun night last night, other than the final score. But all season, the Predators have been honoring that, inaugural team. 25 years of professional hockey in the NHL in this market. Hard to believe this is season 25 for the Preds.
It is, yeah.
It was just season 25 for the Titans, and they're going to actually do all their honoring of that next season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the Preds did something last night with some originals last night when they were playing the Florida Panthers. It was weird. The first ever game here with the Predators was against the Florida Panthers.
Yes.
And imagine that. They honored them last night against the Panthers.
I remember that. They rolled out the red carpet at center ice. I think the commissioner was here, the mayor. They went out there and dropped the ceremonial puck there at center ice. I remember the whole thing.
One of those original Predators is now joining us, Dan Kesmer. He remembers that night. Dan, why can't that 98-99 team beat the Panthers? Why can't you beat them?
Darren, how's my favorite man in radio doing today?
It's day by day, bro. I'm here, so I'll take it.
Well, the short and long answer is because it wasn't meant to be. You win some and you lose some.
Man.
It didn't tarnish the great takeaway from what I experienced. It was quite thrilling to be, around those original teammates that most of them I haven't seen in 25 or 24 years. So
is that right?
Part of it was pretty fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of guys that were here the first year, were gone the second, and then if not, I did play the second year, but then I retired, so you kind of lose touch with a lot of the guys, and you don't get to chit chat with them and see what they've been doing in their life. And a few of the guys here locally, Chris Mason and Jay Moore, I get to see them on a daily basis, but Cliff Ronning I haven't seen in a while. Yeah, so it was really special to be a part of that. And my hockey career kind of reads like the War of Law manual, and I bounced around so many times, but to be a part of something so special like last night, it was pretty neat for me to experience.
Did you feel like sometimes in your career bouncing around that you were like in that commercial? Thank you, Detroit. Detroit was last night.
I was, but it never bothered me because my dream was to play one game in the NHL, and everything after that was gravy. So I always felt fortunate. Whether I was playing in the minors or, I think I fooled them for 300 games in the NHL and 300 in minors. So and they paid me to do it. So I was always grateful for every opportunity I had.
Well, my friend, you definitely you accomplished that dream for sure. So what do you remember? I mean, I know 25 years is 25 years ago, and what do you remember about that night? What do you what memories do you have of that first ever home game in the regular season for the Predators?
Well, just to set the record completely straight, I was part of the inaugural team, but not the inaugural night, because I got here in February of that inaugural season.
Okay.
So I don't remember that specific night other than maybe reading about it in the newspaper, but I heard a lot about it last night.
By the way, you just dated the story by saying you read about it in
the newspaper. God help us.
Right. Yeah. I don't think everything was online back then.
No, I definitely know it was not online. So you've got a unique perspective, Dan, because Barry Trotz was your coach. Andrew Burnett, the current head coach, was your teammate. Yeah. What do you make of kind of the current landscape of kind of the way the Predators organization is set up today?
Well, I'll tell you what, that part of it was surreal last night, because before we went on the ice for the red carpet drop of the puck, we spent time in Barry's office. So Barry was back there, and the 13 of us, former players, and then Andrew Burnett came in, and it was just the guys talking, and it was weird to remember that this gentleman who's the current GM was our coach, and then Brunet was a teammate of ours, and now he's at the helm. So that part of it is surreal, and I don't know that I can really differentiate them being where they're at today versus what they were when I was with them. It's definitely odd. Now you've got teammates that are in those positions all over the NHL, and I've always said this from the time I got here, is that Barry is equally or better of a human than he is a hockey mind. So I've respected him from day one. So I'm glad that he's had the opportunity to come back, and myself, just like everybody else, is wishing the team the best. And they've had glimpses of greatness throughout the year, and I think that, in my personal opinion, they've outperformed where I thought that they would have been prior to the season starting, because they unloaded so much of that team at the trade deadline last year, and then in the off season getting rid of Duchesne and Johansson. It kind of looked like it was a true rebuilding process, and the guys that they've got in that locker room are gelling to a certain extent. I think that they're leaning heavily on a certain number of those players, which I don't think you can continue for the rest of the year. So that part of it has to be ironed out. But they've been a fun product to watch. There's some players that aren't there this year that I don't think a lot of people enjoyed watching. And you can use your own imagination on who that may be. But the kids at the end of last year, after the trade deadline, that went on a streak of, I don't know what they won, 10 out of 12 or 11 out of 15, whatever it was incredible. I loved it. And whether they won or lost, it was just an exciting product on the ice. And I think that's what hockey fans want to see. They want to see effort. They want to see kids working hard. And then, obviously everybody wants to see wins, and they've achieved that this year. So I'm encouraged on the future. They've got a lot of salary cap room, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens for the rest of this year and then in the next year or two.
Do you like your former teammates' style as a head coach? Do you like the brand of hockey that they're playing currently?
I do. I think that coming into the season, there was so much talk of, this offensive prowess that, he was going to bring. But again, I think that you're handcuffed by the personnel that you've got, and then you've got to massage that into a direction of where you think the team needs to be with an identity. And it took a little while to get that. You had so many new pieces of the puzzle to fit in to make that picture, and it doesn't happen overnight. And it's still in the process right now. But yeah, I do. I like what he's done with the team, and he's got some good leadership in the locker room, so that part of it helps out. And the coach and GM can only do so much. The players are the ones responsible to go out there and get the W's and the L's, or they get the W's and they're responsible for the L's. But I think that the direction of the team is encouraging, and I don't think that the aspirations this year are the Stanley Cup, but that could be something into the future.
Help me with this. So it's kind of along the lines of what you just said about players and coaches. And Justin has heard me say this many times on this show. And lo and behold, it has literally played out. And I said, it doesn't happen all the time, obviously, but I've seen it happen so many times over the years. And I don't know what it is about in hockey, because you really don't see this I feel like to the degree. I don't have the analytics. I don't have the stats to back this up. It's just the eye test from watching it over the years. Hockey is in a unique position, this sport, where they fire a coach in the middle of the season or the beginning of the season or whatever, and they bring in the next guy, and all of a sudden they get on a heater. And sure enough, when Edmonton pulled the plug, after about 12 games, after about a dozen games, I looked at Justin on this show and I said, well, I've seen this all too many times. You're like, why would you do this with 82 games 82 game season? You're doing this after like 12. You got 70 more games. And I'm like, because for whatever reason, I've seen this more times than not. The new guy comes in and everything changes. And sure enough, who's been the hottest team in hockey since they fired their coach? The Edmonton Oilers. How does that happen?
25-6 or 26-6. Well, I guess that there's multiple components to look at that. First of all, it's not the fact that there was, 60 some odd games left in the season. The expectations for the Edmonton Oilers this year was a contender for the Stanley Cup. That was, amongst all the personalities in the sport prior to the season started, they were one of the top 3 or 4 teams being predicted to win the Stanley Cup this year. And for whatever reason, they got off to a horrible start. Really, really bad. And I was, my fiance is in Edmonton, and I told her, I said, that coach is gone. He needs to go. And I'm not saying it's the coach's fault, but for some reason, that team is severely underperforming. And sometimes it takes something different in that locker room, a different message, a different personality. It gets guys to not be secure with their position. I don't know. But I predicted that immediately. I said, that coach has got to go. And it's not that he's bad. Sometimes if you've got a GM that recognizes that, okay, you know what, this is something that has happened and occurred in the past with a positive outcome, let's try it. Because they have too good of a team, especially with Draisaitl and McDavid, and Kane and Nugent Hopkins. And so They started out and they had Campbell on the back end, which I think was a big mistake. I don't know why he started the brunt of the majority of the games when the backup was at the All-Star game last year. I mean, they should have made that move in the offseason and just, cut their losses. But they didn't. But, the guy looks like Einstein now because it has worked. They're on a 13-game win streak. And then they go out and they sign Perry. I'm like, good gravy. Of all things, if you're going to do that, keep it quiet until after the streak is over.
Right.
Because whatever's going on right now, it's working. Don't mess with that. I mean, call it taboo, call it superstition, whatever it is. But holy, crying for out loud, it's 13 games in a row doesn't happen every decade. Heck, it's only happened once before. They broke the record with the Canadian team, and now they're going after Pittsburgh. But that, to me, was a bit of a blunder. I guess it's the land of second chances because they did it with Kane, and now they're doing it with Perry. And I'm not saying that in itself is a bad choice, but didn't you kind of shake your head a little bit when they came out publicly and they said he's going to be in the lineup on Saturday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? You don't do anything. You don't even breathe differently. Whatever chair you sat in at the kitchen table, don't alter that because it's working.
I'm curious. You came into the NHL at a very unique period of time in history for the league. And when I say that, what I mean is you are very familiar with how hockey worked, but hockey was a Midwest, Canadian, and Northeastern type of sport. When you got into the league, of course, you opened up your career in places like Minnesota with the North Stars, and then eventually with Hartford, and then Calgary, where you played a number of years. Then one day, you end up in Dallas. And this is what happened while you were in the league, good sir. Tampa in 91. Dallas moved from Minnesota in 93. The Panthers made their mark made in 93 as well. Then you had the Carolina Panthers make their move in 97 and Nashville in 98. The entire Southern kaboom happened.
Columbus really in the South.
Columbus is in the Midwest.
Right after that.
Yeah, Columbus is in the but you're talking about that's 5 teams in the South.
Yeah.
While you were there, what was your impressions of a place like Nashville and just these southern cities in general? As a guy who has grown up, in the Midwest and played hockey and in a hockey culture, which we're still trying to develop one at the time.
Well, I can answer that very easily and honestly. I took the Florida stuff in stride. I mean, it was kind of some excitement within the league. It's like, man, we get to go down to some warm places to play hockey. Was it a little different? Sure, but there was a little bit of giddiness within the locker room for that. And then along comes, I don't know if it was in 96 or 97 that they announced Nashville. And I will put my foot in my mouth and I'll eat my crow and say that I was the wrongest person, even though that's not the correct way to say that. I was completely off base because my misconception of Nashville was that it was a bunch of hillbillies. And I think I can say that now because I am a Nashvilleian of 25 years at least. And the reason I say that is that all the other places around the country or the world, if you're a Canadian, you play all across Canada. If you're an American, you predominantly play in Chicago, Michigan, New York, Connecticut, Philadelphia. Those parts are known for hockey growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had ever really been to Nashville, and I know that they had a minor league team here, but within the ranks of what my experience had been, and most people that were in Dallas at the time were like, what? Are you kidding me? Nashville is getting a team? Somebody either got blackmailed.
So wait, hold on. The people in Dallas who just got a team themselves were saying, how did the people in Nashville get a team?
Yeah, because they had some minor league teams all scattered out throughout, and they had the Houston team for a while. So it wasn't It wasn't unique in Texas that hockey was in Tennessee. So yes, it was very unique, and the guys in Dallas, and it wasn't necessarily saying the guys in Dallas being Texans, this is in the locker room.
I see.
You got NHL
Okay.
players. I remember everybody's like, man, that team's never going to make it. They'll be gone in 2 or 3 years. That was the biggest blunder the NHL's ever made. 25 years later, I look back at that and I'm like, yep, I had no idea what I was talking about because I'd never been here. And I had seen a lot of places, and I can say this with all honesty, this is the best place I've ever been. You know, to raise a family, the cost of living, the quality of people, on and on and on is just such a great place that, you know, it's on the world map now as a tourist destination. So the secret's out, which I wish it wasn't to the extent that it is. But so, yeah, that's the long answer. And I think that everybody was shocked that Nashville did get the team. And I think they're equally as shocked that, you know, the success that they've had, especially with the fan turnout, you know, some of the best fans in the league. In fact, you guys can remember back in 17 during the Stanley Cup, that's the first time I'd ever experienced standing up for a game from start to finish. So, yeah, pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, energy in the building. You've played there on the ice. I've been there a lot. Darren has been there a lot, but I've never been down. Well, that's not true. I've been down on the ice with Nash. He taught me how to slide across the ice one morning. That was fun. But you know what makes the building, and you've played in a lot of arenas. What makes Bridgestone Arena the place that it is? I mean, because it really is a unique place, and I hear it from so many people. And we got a lot of hate at first, so people didn't get it. But as someone who's played in lots and lots of arenas, what makes 501 Broadway such a special place?
Well, I think it's evolved from the beginning. There wasn't very much experience or background with hockey, and it was new, and people were excited on something new. And then that, you know, the culture of that beginning, I think, has evolved into what we see today. So there wasn't this stigma attached to the game of hockey that you had all these connoisseurs like in Montreal or Toronto, even in Detroit, that it's all corporate, you know, season tickets, you sit on your hands, you study the game, you politely clap. That was never the existence of the fan base here in Nashville. And it developed into its own style. And, you know, I think it's still evolving. You know, you've got different chants that come out every once in a while. How those ever originated, I don't know, but I love them because they're unique. And I think that's what makes the experience at Bridgestone. And it isn't just the game itself. It's what happens in between whistles. And, you know, they've done a great job for the entertainment value for, you know, a family experience with kids and, you know, the Jumbotron. So I enjoy going. My kids enjoy going, and it's a pretty neat place to visit.
Dan, great stuff. I hope you guys had a blast last night. Like I said, I know other than the outcome of the game, it looked like it was a fun evening to be had. Thanks for doing this. Good to catch up with you, and let's do it again soon.
Darren, always a great pleasure talking to you, and I wish you guys the best. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too. That is Dan Kesmer. Appreciate him joining us, talking about this Predators team.
Very cool.
That will get back out on the road. Right now, they currently sit fourth in they're in the Central Division with 51 points. Winnipeg, Colorado, and Dallas have a firm and tight grip up at the top as the top three. But next up is Nashville and Arizona, and kind of St. Louis battling for that fourth spot. And right now, the Predators currently have it. We'll come back. We're wide open the rest of the hour. If you want to get involved in the show, 615-844-5600. We'll be right back.
You enjoy the thrill of gambling, but what happens when it becomes a problem? Whether you want to cut back or quit gambling altogether, the Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling for over 2 decades. We're here to help, not to judge. The Gambling Clinic is a Tennessee-based clinic offering in-person and telehealth support to help people win back their life. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
We all know that Nashville life can get hectic. In the middle of all the madness that is life, don't forget to take care of yourself. Treat yourself to Nashville's ultimate relaxation experience at Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. With services for men and women, Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel is your one-stop shop for full-body treatment. Begin your experience in the exquisite relaxation room, then enjoy a full-body treatment or even a couple's massage before finishing in the salon. Located on the 4th floor of the Omni Nashville Hotel, Mocara Spa is Nashville's highest quality self-care oasis. To book your experience or gain information on packages, call Mocara Spa today at 615-761-3600. Again, 615-761-3600. Or log on to theomnihotel.com. And with every booking, you'll have free valet parking and rooftop pool access to enjoy the Music City skyline. And through Labor Day, enjoy the 4th floor spa terrace for only $20. Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare, and in the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
And now, JB Roofing is reminding motorists to slow down on our roadways, keep an eye out for kids at play, and never text and drive. This message is brought to you by JB Roofing, serving the area for 20 years. For all your residential roofing needs, give the pros a call today at 629-246-7693. 629-246-7693. That's JB Roofing, going the extra mile for safety. They're professionals who care.
It's a Bill King Show.
Brad, when that news hit, how did you respond? What were your thoughts?
I'm always thinking batting first, but from a historical aspect, you know, there used to be debate as far as who the greatest is. It Bear Bryant? Is it Nick Saban? To me, it's Nick Saban, and I'm not a guy that lives in the moment. I just think Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach of all time.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
The McFarland Show. Video streaming live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube from the Strike and Spare studio.
844-5600 is how you get in touch with us. Appreciate Dan Kesmer, original Pred, join us. Great guy.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Let's go to the phones. We got some people who want to talk.
Good.
I cannot believe we didn't hear from this guy yesterday.
He was busy.
I mean, he must have been doing his own parade.
He's doing the calls.
I mean,
doctors.
we heard from intern Alec. We heard from Michigan down in the borough. We even heard from Eric in Columbia, which we found out is a huge Lions fan.
Yeah.
And
busy.
We didn't hear from Dr. Detroit.
Busy. I forgive you, Doc. It's
DD,
okay.
What's up?
I guess I was still letting it absorb in.
Man, I thought you would be like calling it 2:01 yesterday.
Yeah, I think I had a few errands yesterday, but no, 1,000 pardons for unexcusable absentees from the good doctor.
It took you to Tuesday to come down from the high, right? From the weekend?
Yeah, and hey, you know, like I think I said on Friday's program, I'm feeling this high like I'm actually in Detroit, just like we got when the Predators were fighting for the Lord Stanley Cup. It's the most incredible feeling, guys. Just floating, man.
Yeah.
Just,
well, you should be. You should be, man. Soak it in.
Without being on the Wolf of Wall Street, I'm floating alcohol and narcotic free. So I love that movie, though. God, that movie's hilarious.
It is.
Oh my God.
It's a
hey,
good
so
one.
I looked on my phone. The action-packed cast not only just showed up for the Lions' first playoff when the Rams came to town, but second, when we had Bob Seger and everybody. And real quick, the first Lions game, I took my ex-exorcist on Thanksgiving Day. I was on the outside row, and this usher said, hey, Bob Seger's sitting 23 rows in front of you. And you could just tell from the back of his head, his hair is like, man, that's Bob Seger. God, man, how cool is that, you know? But yeah, Eminem's been there for both games, and
I'll tell you what's been cool is them showing, and I don't remember his name, and I apologize, but the guy, the fan that they keep showing, the guy that's been there from the beginning.
Oh,
yeah, guy has had season tickets for 65 years.
Yeah. They keep,
he was there for the last
80s.
championship in '57.
Yeah. He was there. Yeah, he's in his 80s, like pushing 90, and he's sitting right there. Like, I think that's so cool. I think that's awesome.
It's remarkable. I mean, there's something of that nature that's remarkable. Real quick, I took a road trip to Detroit in '99 just to go to Tiger Stadium Labor Day weekend one last time. And I was talking to some fans about the new MGM Grand Casino that just opened up there. And this family is 16. Their grandfather, so once again, it's back in '99. In '99, he's been a season ticket holder for 44 years for Tigers baseball. I mean, that's remarkable. But they're like, good luck. You're on about a 6-hour wait to get in. So, that story that I witnessed in my real life, being at Old Tiger Stadium, and the guy on TV being a season ticket, 65 years.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a major accomplishment.
Crazy.
But I was going to retort on Stephen A. Smith's big, loud donkey mouth. Notice, I'm not rude. I didn't say the A word. I've substituted for the animal donkey.
Jeez.
But it's just common courtesy. Sometimes I dig him. You know, he can be a comedian. He can be pretty hilarious. But, analyze your thoughts before you talk, which a lot of times none of them do. But it came back to bite them big time. It did. Did y'all hear about the firing of the Milwaukee Bucks coach?
Yep.
Dude, what? They're second, I think, second best record in the NBA.
Yeah, they were supposed to be undefeated at the midway
Apparently.
No, so Milwaukee
underachieved.
They lost 13 times. That's not good enough.
Underachievement.
So the coach has got to put them like in a prison camp and punish them until they play better defense.
I don't know.
Real quick, they dropped from last year. They were fourth best defense. Now they're 22nd. But it's crazy. Hey, I'll let you guys go and move on. But
thank you, Didi.
Yeah, thank you.
Soak it in, man.
Thank you, sir.
NBA. So Bucks fire their head coach. 43 games into the season, they're in second place in the East. Joel Embiid had 70 points last night on the anniversary of Kobe's 81-point performance. And
Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, it lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Had 62.
62.
In a loss.
Yeah. Lost against Charlotte.
They lost.
Yeah. After scoring 62.
Is he the only one who scored?
He needs to call Michael Jordan and ask him, how do you deal with that?
Jeez.
I scored 62 and we lost. How do you?
Let's sneak another one in.
Please.
We got loading lines. Doug, what's up?
Hey, man. Listening to your guest describing Callahan and how things are going to go, and you guys put out 3 Hall of Fame running backs and kind of said things are going to change. And I said, wow, he didn't even think that was a big deal. But I think for the first time in this town, you will see wide receiver jerseys surpass the sales of running back jerseys.
Well, he certainly painted that picture, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, that's why I was like, can you repeat what you just said? Brian Callahan said that he will put a premium, a heavy premium on the wide receiver position.
Times are changing.
Yeah.
Okay? So, better get the memories ready to go. You better, download whatever runs that you see. And that's the reason I laid it out the way I did, because we have been used to watching power running football for the last 25 years up and down that field. It is all going away.
Well, it's not like this franchise hasn't been drafting receivers. They just have failed miserably on receivers.
What's the philosophy in drafting the receivers, though? Do we draft them to do what?
I guess block.
Hey, it's a new day.
Yeah.
It's a new day.
I just hope Brian and Rand can do a better job than the last 25 years of drafting receivers.
It's clearly a new day.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back. Nate, we'll get to you before we get out of here. Final break. McFarland Show on this Tuesday, Nashville Sports Radio.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
There aren't any cops around.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good.
Hey, I can hold my liquor.
I drink and drive all the time.
If you put away some drinks, put away your keys. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up. And if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
And now, the fine folks at Nick's Construction and Remodeling are on the air reminding motorists to slow down on our roads. Keep an eye out for kids at play and never text and drive. It can wait. This message courtesy of Nick's Construction and Remodeling, serving the area with quality and pride. Call Nick's Construction and Remodeling today at 931-952-9587. 931-952-9587 for all your interior and exterior construction and remodeling needs. That's Nick's Construction and Remodeling. They do it all.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Their offensive system is way outdated. It's in the same folder with beepers, VHS,
Super Tecmo Bowl,
payphones. It's in the same category. Mr. Gaddy's Pizza,
man,
buffet,
great, fantastic.
It's in the same folder.
Fantastic.
I love that buffet.
It was great.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
Text the Strike and Spare studio now at 615-844-5600. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
615-844-5600. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm glad that we're not on air during breaks.
Yeah.
This past break, I kind of wish that was on air. That would
no,
have been
I
fun.
don't.
That would have been fun.
No.
Let's go down to Columbia. Let's go to Nate. Nate, what's up?
What's up, guys? With how much Justin's been saying the times are changing.
Times are changing.
Times are changing.
We got new DJ Damon should have brought us back at least once with the Bob Dylan "The Times Are a Changing" song.
Well, he doesn't have options like that. He can't do that.
Yeah.
Technically.
So DJ Damon's a little bit limited.
He's limited on some of the things he can do.
Okay.
But that is a good suggestion, though. I get it.
But so going back to y'all's interview y'all had with the former Preds player, have y'all ever, and from what y'all know or maybe have researched, has a coach ever dropped the puck for the ceremonial puck drop?
I don't know.
And then coach the game?
Nate, that is so weird that you said. I swear to that is crazy. I actually thought the same thing last night. I don't know the answer. I got distracted afterwards, and I never even went to look it up or talk to anybody or watch social media to see if anybody else said that out loud.
Wouldn't you think Scotty Bowman may have done it?
No.
He wouldn't do that kind of thing?
No, Nate is like Andrew Burnett, the active head coach, to literally then walk back to the bench and then coach a game in the NHL.
That's what I'm saying. You don't think they would have honored him maybe at one point and then he went back to the bench? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
just
know.
throwing things out
Justin,
there.
I don't know. That's why I'm intrigued by this because I actually thought the same thing.
Just
that
thinking
Nate did.
possible people who may have done it. But anyway.
And it's not a game, it's the game that he dropped the ceremonial puck for. But I did ask the Elliot Freeman and Jeff Merrick, the 32 Thoughts podcast, so maybe they'll pick my question on Friday.
Oh, so you did? Okay, good. Hey, keep us posted. Like, I want to know if they answer that because I would love to know. I actually thought that was like it's not like the craziest thing ever, but that thought did cross my mind. Like, I don't remember Barry Trotz or Peter. Like, I feel very confident Barry Trotz, Peter Laviolette, and John Hines never dropped a puck before a Predators game. I feel pretty good about that. Do you feel the same way, Nate?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a great evening, guys.
All right, you too.
All right, thank you, Nate.
That's interesting.
It is interesting to think about. I'm just, I don't think it's happened in Predators history, but I'm just trying to think of who else may have done it around the league. And, legendary coach maybe on their way out last couple of games. I don't know.
But drop the puck while he's the coach?
I mean,
don't you wait till afterwards?
You would think.
Yeah, that's just...
I don't know.
I'll be curious if he gets an answer on that.
It's a weird set of circumstances.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
It's like having an active player do the coin flip.
Times are changing in Nashville, but not this show. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yes.
Don't forget, Bill Keane starts things off at 6 a.m., followed by Greg and John, 9 to 11, and then we'll be here on Hump Day starting at 2. We'll see you then.
CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, hour number 3 of our radio program. That's right, it is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on CBS Sports Radio. Glover Quinn, former Lions defensive back, is going to stop by 20 minutes from now. His Lions off to the NFC title game. Will they be going up against the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara on Sunday? So we'll talk to Glover Quinn 20 minutes from now. But with pretty much the NFL season being over, coming to a close, you got 3 more games when it comes to the AFC title game, the NFC title game, and then the big Super Bowl in Las Vegas 2 weeks from now. I just want to take a look back at this NFL season. And there's been a lot of positive, but there's also been a lot of disappointment. And I want to go through my list of the top 5 most disappointing storylines from this past NFL season. We'll start in at number 5 with Stephon Diggs falling from elite status. The Buffalo Bills were a team that were doubted going into this season, but we were going to find out a lot about the Buffalo Bills. And when they get backed into a corner from where a year ago, they were everyone's pick to go win the Super Bowl and get to the Super Bowl. And then when they came up in a big-time way short, what were they going to be the following season? And the start of the season was rocky, right? It got going in the offseason with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Sean McDermott having some problem. And the season started with the 6-6 record. Then they had their bye week after that crushing defeat to Philadelphia where they lose the game in overtime. And out of that, they were undefeated the rest of the regular season. They got the 2 seed in the AFC. They won their first playoff game up against the Steelers, and you finally were getting the Kansas City Chiefs at home. But you look back at Stephon Diggs, and you could say, Zach, he had a fine season, right? Over 100 catches, over 1,100 yards, had 8 touchdowns. But the Bills needed an elite weapon on their offensive side of the ball outside of the quarterback in Josh Allen. By design, that is supposed to be Stephon Diggs. And going into this year, everyone would have viewed Stephon Diggs as a top 5 to 7 receiver in the NFL. And Stephon Diggs this season, even though his numbers still suggest he's a really good player, his numbers were really empty in the last 2 weeks or the last 2 months of the season. You know, I know everyone gets on Josh Allen for the 2nd and 9 play. He's not wrong. You know, you're not wrong for doing that. I've crushed him for that. And also on 3rd down as well. But to open up that drive, he threw a bomb. And Stephon Diggs, who gets paid elite wide receiver money, he's got to catch that football. And he didn't. But you look a deeper dive into the numbers, and you take a deeper dive into the numbers on what suggests it's a good season, but you can't have your number 1 pass catching option not register a 100-yard game since week 6. You can't have your number 1 pass catching option not have a touchdown since week 12. So when I look at Stephon Diggs, it's extremely just disappointing how he went from being one of the best wide receivers in the NFL to now starting to show his decline, and he's 9 years into a career. He just wrapped up year 9, and he's 30 years old. So I don't think there's going to be many better days for Stephon Diggs in the NFL. So that's 5. In at number 4, when we discussed maybe who could be the 3rd best team in the AFC and the NFC before the season started, there were 2 teams. I don't want to say they were dark horse teams, but they were expected to be playoff teams and potentially be threats come postseason time. Those 2 teams, both of them ended up missing the playoffs. Where going into the season, you definitely had Kansas City and Cincinnati, 1 and 2 in the AFC. And then the 3rd team was up for grabs. Some said it could be Jacksonville. At the time, we thought easy division. You had the 2nd year of Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence being together, coming off what was a year 1 where not only did they make the playoffs, not only did they win the division, but they also won a playoff game coming back from down 27 points to take care of business up against the Chargers and then having a solid effort on the road in Kansas City where they bat out in the divisional round. And in the NFC, everyone looked at 1 and 2 going into this year, Eagles and 49ers. And the 3rd team, there were a mixture of people. Like, people were talking about the Cowboys, people were talking about the Lions. But the Seahawks were another team that were very alive as well, especially when the year before they made the playoffs when no one thought they were going to make the playoffs. Year 1 without Russ. Geno Smith was a good player for them a year ago, and they have a talented roster. But for both those teams to not make the playoffs, it's extremely disappointing. It's one thing to not get the job done in the postseason. It's one thing to not meet those expectations of being one of the better teams in the AFC and the NFC. But when you have 7 teams that make the playoffs in the AFC and the NFC, to just flat outright miss it, it's a joke. And Jacksonville, I'm really concerned about. Because as much as I love Doug, and as much as we've been told Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be that guy, when they went up against big opponents this year, and they were all in their building, Kansas City in their building, Baltimore in their building, San Francisco in their building, it's one thing to lose a game. It's another thing to not show up. And those 3 games, they did not show up. And their offense, which is the strength of their team, and I know they hired Ryan Nielsen the other day, which is a good hire, because he did a good job with this Falcons defense last year in Atlanta. But when your offense is supposed to be your strength and it ended up being a weakness, I don't know how you fix that. And for Seattle, I think we all look at Geno Smith as he was fine. He's been better than what you could expect the last 2 years. But with the talent that they have, you got to make the playoffs when you have a Lockett, when you have a Metcalf, when you have Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I think even though Geno got rewarded like he was going to be their quarterback, no one actually believes that Geno Smith is the long-term answer in Seattle. In at number 3, the Chargers. The Chargers, before the year, it was very easy to say, with Brandon Staley as their head coach, they won't be successful. And I went into last year, I said it right after the playoff choke, when they had a 27-point lead and couldn't slam the door shut up against Jacksonville. The Spanos family will bring Brandon Staley back, but they shouldn't. Because once you blow a game like that, when there were already big-time questions about you as a head coach, there was no recovering from that. But to see the Chargers not only fail this year, but to bottom out, that's the point that makes them so discouraging and makes them so disappointing. Because probably going into this year, even if you were a critic of the Chargers, the worst you could probably predict them was 9-8, right? Like, I think that's fair to say, even if you weren't buying in on the Chargers and you were going to say that they were going to miss the playoffs with the talent that they have, all right, 9-8. They were 5-12. And that decision to bring back Brandon Staley, and I know they suffered a lot of injuries, but the Chargers suffer a lot of injuries each and every year. But to bring back Brandon Staley, you got to see how unpopular Brandon Staley really was in that locker room. Because the first year, it was okay. The season ended the way that it did, and it was his fault with the timeout, and then it led the Raiders to be a little bit more aggressive with Bisaccia. You kick the field goal, then you end up making the playoffs where if they would have tied, both teams would have made the postseason. But there was a difference between being aggressive with Staley and just being stupid. And then last year, you had a guy that was winning games, right? They were making the playoffs, but that was just a bar to make the playoffs. But then even early on this year, and it got off to a bad start, there were back-to-back games where they were going up against the Raiders and the Vikings. I forget what the order was, but it was Raiders-Vikings or Vikings-Raiders, where he went for it deep in his own end. 4th and 1 inside his 30, 35-yard line. Went for it. Didn't get it. And then was fortunate enough that Aiden O'Connell and Kirk Cousins threw him a gift interception both those times to get 2 victories. So when you're doing those things and you're not showing that you learned anything from your previous blunders, and he actually had the benefit where the guys in the locker room didn't publicly rip him the first 2 years, but you knew there were questions. Like whenever you talk to Chargers players, and we talked to a lot of them, they were saying things about Brandon Staley, but you know that it was just out of saying the right things. You never actually believed what they were saying. And to see this year it all unravel, looking back, it shouldn't be surprising, but it is surprising that a team with that much talent could only get 5 wins in the NFL. Because I was someone that was pessimistic about Staley, but I still thought the Chargers could be a playoff team, and I still thought they could win 9-10 games because of the talent that they had. But when you have a coach that's a disaster, it could derail your entire season, and that's what happened with the Los Angeles Chargers. And at number 2, it's the injuries, and we had a lot of injuries to big-time quarterbacks this year. But the 2 in particular, Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers. The most covered story in last offseason was the future of Aaron Rodgers. Heck, the last 3 off seasons, it was Aaron Rodgers this, Aaron Rodgers that, Aaron Rodgers this, Aaron Rodgers that. To see Aaron Rodgers tear his Achilles 4 plays into a season was just devastating. And not only that, it's like the writers to Curb Your Enthusiasm couldn't even write that script. Because Jet fans have been tortured. Jet fans have been beaten down. They've been tarred. They've been feathered. Like, the Jets are a joke. They're a circus. Like, when your franchise highlights are winning Super Bowl III and then making, not winning, making 2 AFC championship games, it shows you how little you've had to cheer for as a Jet fan. But to finally have optimism, for finally people talking about you in a positive way, to see that season just crash and burn 4 plays in, it was severely disappointing. Because whether you like Rodgers or not, no one with the